Our Queensland bundle is one of our most popular products. There seems to be enduring interest by property investors across Australia in investing in Brisbane and Queensland. It certainly has a long-term reputation as a growth market. Hasn't been that way recently, but there are growing signals that there is recovery in the underlying Queensland state economy and other factors pointing to the possibility of growth in markets in both Brisbane and in other parts of Queensland. So the Queensland bundle includes our top 5 Brisbane Hotspots report and also our top 5 regional Queensland report. In terms of Brisbane, Brisbane has been predicted by many analysts to replicate the sort of growth we've seen in Sydney and Melbourne, and it hasn't done so to date. And the fundamental underlying reason for that is that the Queensland economy has been at best lukewarm in recent years, whereas the New South Wales and Victorian economies have been very strong, and that has driven the upcycles for the Sydney and Melbourne markets. So will Brisbane perform better in the near future? I think so. There are growing signals that the many stars are falling into alignment that the Brisbane market needs to actually produce some good price growth. The underlying state economy is strengthening. The population growth data is increasingly favouring southeast Queensland. And in the state budget in June, we had an announcement of $50 billion in infrastructure spending over the next 4 years. Hopefully some of that will happen because infrastructure spending is hugely influential in driving the economy, creating jobs, and out of that comes demand for real estate. So putting all that together with the price comparison and the yield comparison, we're starting to see growing interest. People out of Sydney and Melbourne looking for more affordable places to buy as investors and places with better rental yields. And a lot of them are thinking Brisbane, according to the various surveys that have been conducted recently. At the same time, we're seeing recovery in many of the regional Queensland cities and towns which have been adversely impacted in recent years by the downturn in the resources sector. Resources sector is recovering. Projects that have previously been mothballed have been brought back online. New projects are being proposed. More jobs are being created. In fact, the statistics suggest that the biggest growth sector of the economy in terms of jobs creation consistently in recent times has been the resources sector, and that's impacting Queensland and Western Australia in particular. So we're now starting to see improvement in those regional markets, such as Mackay, for example, Rockhampton, Emerald, Dalby, and hopefully also soon Gladstone. Vacancies have come down in those places. We're starting to see a pickup in sales activity, and the first signs in some of those markets have returned to price growth. Meanwhile, those markets that are less impacted by the resources sector, such as the Sunshine Coast, such as Townsville, and some of the other markets that we mentioned in our top 5 regional Queensland report, are actually travelling very strongly. We're seeing an uptick in sales activity driven primarily by the big infrastructure spend that's happening, in particular on the Sunshine Coast and in Townsville. So good prospects for Queensland, improving prospects for the Brisbane market, I think, and growing signs of recovery in those regional Queensland markets, as I mentioned. So the Queensland bundle includes 10 locations, 5 in Brisbane and 5 in regional Queensland, where I think there are good prospects for growth moving forward. So hopefully you'll get a copy of the bundle, have a read, and give you some ideas, the best places to buy moving forward in Queensland. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from Hotspotting signing off. Talk to you again soon.